Welcome to this next episode of the Beloved Miracles Couples Project. Today, we are literally bridging one day to another in time zones, reaching 12 hours up sun from Norway to New Zealand. Hello, Helen.
Hello, Tim. It's great to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. This is a cool thing to go from one day to another. Helen Lingard is a law of attraction coach, passionate about helping women become the best version of themselves and attracting the life they desire and deserve. So Helen, where does your inspiring story begin?
Well, Tim, I'm a Brit Kiwi. I was born in the UK and I was part of a loving family, but I never felt very confident. I had low self-esteem issues. I was bullied when I was younger. And so for me, I was like a lot of people out there. I've discovered this over the recent years, that so many people out there don't feel good enough. They don't love themselves. They don't accept themselves. And so for me, learning to love and accept yourself is so important. Because once you do, your whole life changes. Your absolute whole life changes. So I'm somebody who's very passionate about helping the underdog, helping people realize how amazing they are. Because we all are. We've all got value to share. And we're all just absolutely amazing.
So love, right? I've heard it said, the heart speaks with words the mind knows nothing of, right? And we need to love ourselves to be able to love others, right? It's like coming from within out. How has that happened then? You were bullied, so it was challenged early in your life, right?
Well, I was the youngest of three girls, and for no reason, nobody made me feel this way, but I always felt different. I always felt left out. I always felt I was the black sheep, if you like. I always felt that way. And again, nobody made me feel that way. It was just the way I felt. And so, and when you feel that way, and this is, it's worldwide. It's people tend to pick on you. People tend to find your insecurities. And the reason people pick on you, bullies, because as the expression says, hurt people. They're not happy themselves. So the sooner we're all happy and we learn to love ourselves, you'll find that people will bully less. And you find that when somebody puts somebody else down, anywhere, we tend to gossip about people, we tend to put people down, even in the media, and it's because people do not feel good themselves. So for me, it's a passion. It's just, I'm so passionate about, because I've got through it. I've been able to transform myself. So I want to help other people transform themselves. And it's really not that hard. It's just a matter of learning to love yourself.
And how did that happen for you? Like, when did the seed of that start sprouting and you started to look in the mirror and recognize the calling to love yourself?
Well, it's funny you should say that, because there was a pivotal moment, and I went through a crisis point about 10 years ago. I lost a close relative. In fact, we were three girls and we lost one of my sisters. And I was over here in New Zealand, and it was a very traumatic time, obviously. And for various reasons, I decided not to go back to the UK when it happened. I stayed here. And then 6 weeks after I lost my sister, and I was still grieving, my job was disestablished. And it was like, oh my God, what else can go wrong? And so that I was dealing with that, and we planned to go back to the UK for Christmas. So we went back. And on returning to New Zealand, still grieving, I was in my new job. I developed some health issues, which necessitated me going to the hospital regularly that following year. And then on top of all this, my managers the job wasn't right for me. It was too much for me in that situation, in that stage of my life. But the worst was yet to come. They started to bully me in my job. Literally, the management, the powers that be, just bullied me relentlessly. So for that whole year, I was still grieving. I was going to the hospital every few months with health issues, and I was being called into an office and basically being told to jump, and how high are you going to jump, and just atrociously. It was just awful. And I lost weight. I went down to I'm a single parent. I've been a single parent for about 10, 15 years. So I was a single parent dealing with that too. I went down to my pre-pregnancy weight. I lost about, it must have been 10 kgs, which is, what's that? It's about a stone or two. Really, I couldn't eat. I was being sick, really stressed at the max, really bad time, and also going to the hospital all the time. And then, and I knew I was better than this. It was like, but this is what happens when you're not feeling good about yourself. You're not confident. You don't love yourself. You tend to, and I use this word not let, but other people get to you, and it's so, like I say, it's so prevalent. And in the December, so this has been going on for a whole year, in the December, something happened. They sent me an email and I knew they were starting disciplinary action against me. And the worm turned. It was like I sat there with tears running down my face and my language was like blue. And I thought, this is not happening. This is not happening. So they'd set me an appointment to see them to start this disciplinary action. And instead, I wrote a detailed letter. I had documented everything that happened to me. And in this meeting, I went into this meeting. And previously in all the meetings, I'd been a quivering wreck. I just sat there and they just basically, with their words, hit me with rocks and stones, and I just felt awful, just really awful. I went into this meeting and I stood up and I read this thing to them, that basically the way they treated me was abominable, and if they didn't do what I wanted, I was going to take a PG, and you cannot treat people like this, and all this sort of stuff, and just really let them have it. I was shaking, but I went outside and it was like a rock, a weight lifted off my shoulders, and I was like, oh my God, I don't care what happens here, but I'm out of here. I'm out of here. And I can't explain the feeling. It was just amazing. And within days, they granted me my wishes. And they even said to me, they even threw me a farewell do because they wanted it to look, and I left, and I can't tell you, the feeling was amazing. Just absolutely, the relief was amazing. And I think everything I've been carrying up to my life up till then was like, to come out in that kind of speech I'd given. And so I left there at Christmas, and in the new year, it was, because to me, when people get made redundant or lose their jobs, whatever, we tend to think, oh, it's the end of the world. It's actually the beginning. It's your chance to think, wow, what do I really want to do? I've been wasting my time for the last 10 years, whatever. This is my chance. So for me, this is my chance. What do I want to do? What do I want to do? And I decided, because I used to be a nurse, I forgot to mention that. My background is nursing. So I've always cared about people. And I was going to do psychology. And being a single parent, I decided the stress of studying was too much, because all my family were in the UK. I was just on my own with my kids in New Zealand. And I decided to really immerse myself. I'd watched The Secret the year or two beforehand, but I decided to get into personal development. And I started working on me. And that was the biggest, the best thing I could do, and anybody can do. Work on yourself. And since then, I've just transformed. I have absolutely transformed. I am now empowering other women. I am telling other women and men, if they relate, you don't have to put up with this. You are amazing. Because I didn't realize how amazing I was during that year, or even before that. And, this is why I'm so passionate, because I've been there. And losing someone. I know it's, again, we don't talk about it. When I mention on Facebook, I do a blog or whatever, or I do a video, and people come out of the woodwork who've lost somebody, and it's not talked about. And we need to talk about it, because we're never alone. We are never alone, and we think we are.
That reminds me of a phrase that stuck with me for a long time, that we can feel lonely, right? And that still registers for me sometimes. I'll feel lonely. But what you just said is also my truth, that I'm actually never alone. I can feel lonely, but it doesn't go further than that. I can't fool myself into thinking I'm alone.
Absolutely. Well, Wayne Dyer, I forget his, and he's gone. He's just such a great guy, and he's gone. But his words and his audience are still around. He said a great, and I can't remember the exact phrase, but something like, "You're never alone if you love the person you're with," and that is it. You've got to really enjoy your own company. And I do a lot of stuff on my own. I travel a lot on my own, and it's very empowering, because you get so much confidence when you realize, I've been out for meals on my own. I've been for drinks I've done lots of things on my own. And I don't feel like Nigel No Mates. Oh my God, everyone's looking at me. I feel really empowered. And yes, you do, but I still find times when I feel alone. But yes, but the thing that when you do feel alone is to get out there and be with people. And you only need, it's like when you need feeding. You only need, to have people's company for a short time. And it's like, oh, I've got my fix now. and then you can go and be happy, in your own company again.
Yeah. Where does the implementing of a system enter into what you've shared with us? Where did that show up, and what did that change for you?
Oh gosh. Well, for me, one of the things, we're encouraged to do, when we are feeding our minds, when we are investing in ourselves, is to read every day, to feed your mind every day, to surround yourself with the right people every day. And so for me, because when you invest in yourself, you bolster yourself, and you are better able to not let other people get to you, and so it's really about investing in yourself. And to me, that's the key for everything. Invest in yourself, because when you do invest in yourself, which is a system, I think, you focus on what's important in life, which is kindness, compassion, and just lifting each other up, because we tend to knock each other down too much. And yet when you invest in yourself, when you implement this amazing system, you feel so much better, and all you want to do is love people and give it out. Because what you've got in here, as Lisa Nichols said in The Secret, your cup overflows. When you've got enough love in yourself, it overflows. And we know so many people in this community, in this system, who do give to other people, because this is what it's all about.
Yeah, well said. And you mentioned community as well. Can you say more about that word, community, for you?
Oh, community is just about being, for me, I'm just doing an interesting thing. I've been living in the UK, and I have come back to New Zealand to visit my children who are here. I've got 2 grown-up children, and they catch it with friends. And I only had 2 weeks planned to where to stay. And I've had friends and strangers who are now friends welcome me into their houses. And this weekend I've got somebody else's house to use and a car to use. That's community. The community we work in, where we support each other, we empower people, we believe in each other. We're here to, and this is what I do believe. I don't like the word should, but I do believe that life can be a community when we learn to lift each other up and be kind and compassionate. And no, I say this a lot, but for me, I learned this from Louise Hay, that everyone is doing the best they can with what they've got. And if you go about life realizing that even people who are mean to you, who hurt you, whatever, they're doing the best they can with what they've got. So as Mother Teresa said, love them anyway, love them anyway. And the community we're part of could not be better. You don't feel anything but love here. It's love, kindness, and giving.
And that's actually what first introduced you and I to each other as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. That was an amazing weekend. That was absolutely, yes. Yes.
Yeah. Bucharest, Romania, just last year. Yeah. Summer last year, you and I met implementing a system and as part of a community. And in fact, we were discussing that just before we came on live here, some of the other relationships that have blossomed. And now we have a Facebook gratitude accountability group. So I'm amazed actually how much we've accomplished in just a few short months since our paths have crossed.
Oh, it's amazing. That community is great, Tim. The gratitude. I sometimes forget it's the afternoon, and I'm aware of gratitude every morning. I wake up with gratitude, and every day I go through my day saying thank you for various things, and then sometimes it blows you away. And I go into that group, and yesterday I wrote so many things I have to be grateful for, because gratitude is everything. It's everything. Love for life is the key. For bringing more of what you want into your life. It's about being gratitude. So that was a great group you started there, Tim. So well done.
Well, and you've done work with gratitude before. So sometimes I think I was just continuing work that others have done for a long time. And I hear it in everything you're sharing with us, Helen. I hear a deep gratitude, even for the bullying, even for the difficulty, even for this employment situation, which sounds like it literally attacked you. I can hear the profound and deep gratitude that you still have in the richness of your story, sharing those experiences with us.
Oh, absolutely. Well, as tough as challenges are, everyone goes through them. And don't ever think that somebody who's wealthy, who's got that house, who's got that ideal marriage or whatever you think they've got, everyone's got a challenge. We've all got challenges. But what I've found, and I'm sure you have, Tim, too, when you go through a challenge and you come out the other side, you're so much stronger. You're so much wiser. And I have to say, I was one of those, I was a mouse when I was younger. And it took me, like I say, I've been bullied several times, both as a child and adult. But it took that time for, I mean, I guess I hate to quote this, to use this, but it's kind of, you know, like the phoenix rising from the ashes. You know, you're a little person, or you feel you are. I mean, no one is a little person at all, but you feel you are. You feel insecure, and then you go through this challenge. Or it's like the butterfly coming out of the, cocoon, and suddenly, and it's like you're coming up for air as the water. You've been held down, and it's like, yes, I did it. Yes. And I cannot tell you how good I felt when I had come out of that room, because for the previous year, I've been made to feel small, and, you know, they were like pushing me down. And suddenly I was like, you know, you can't do this. And they did, one of them did apologize to me afterwards and say, you know, I'm sorry for what you've been through. And this is one thing I want people to realize, because I'm definitely one of these people. There were 3 people in the rooms when I was bullied. There were 3 people in those rooms. And one person was the person who was tend to be having a go at me. And the other 2 people sat there and said nothing. Don't be one of those people. If you see something or you hear something, speak up. Because at the end of the day, that could be you. And how would you want people to treat you or your children? So it's very important to not be that person who doesn't speak up. You've just got to, because in life, there are too many situations where, you know, people need help or whatever it is, an animal or whatever, and you've got to be the one that speaks up. And don't be afraid. If nobody else is speaking up, that's okay. I tell you, you'll feel so good after it. You think, oh my God, I stood up. Oh my God, I feel so good. And even if you don't get thanks for the person, you know you did the right thing. And that's what it's about. In your heart, knowing you did the right thing. And for me, you know, speaking up, I don't think other people should go through that. And they do all the time. And this is why I like to empower people, empower women and men if they relate, because no one needs to go through that. If you love yourself, accept yourself, then, you know, then people won't bully you. You can't be bullied because you just, you know. And I've actually, I must just say this, I've been in a job since there where there was a potential to bully me, but I'd learnt the way, and it's basically about being kind to people and being, you know, just finding the way to relate to that person, because the person who's trying to bully you is hurt. They're not in a good place. And they say, what's the expression? Kill them with kindness. And that's definitely, you know, when you're kind to someone who's been nasty, it kind of blows them away. So, yes. So, no, you do come out so much stronger.
And just listening to what you said, that almost loops right back to gratitude again, right? That the sooner we can be acting and even being grateful for the difficulty, even head and face on, eye to eye, nose to nose with someone, if we can pull a little bit of that gratitude in there, or as you said, appreciation for what role they're playing, that can turn it, that can flip it. Absolutely. Yes. Well, you've already touched on it, and I think that would be the closing question for now, just to ask you, do you have any further advice, especially as you know our audience is primarily couples, 2 or more working together. Any advice that you would add to what you've already shared with us?
Well, I'm not a couple, but I have been there and I've learned the lessons. And so for me, it's just support and being there for your partner and believing. Even if you're totally not accepting or believing in your partner, be there for them, support them, and just compromise. It's and love them anyway. You know, whatever happens, it's just I think, yes, it's just being there for each other and loving each other, and knowing that this is a great, again, I seem to be full of phrases and full of cliches. This too shall pass. Even if if it's a challenging time, you'll get through this. And remember, you know, what brought you there in the first place. So, yes. And just the last one. So just the last one. Something, this is so powerful. I've just learned in the last sort of year. Just remember that if you're feeling, if we get frustrated with a partner or somebody, we have to look at ourselves, and it's work within ourselves we need to do. And the more work you do within yourself, then your partner, your friend, or the relationship will improve. So I think that's so important. Don't try and change the other person. It's you that needs to improve. You need to, you know, to love yourself more, work on yourself.
Well said. Yes. And I, you know, putting together all we've touched on here, it sounds like an adversary can just as much become, with the gratitude or the appreciation, a partner, right? Is that a fair way to coin some of what you've shared with us of your story, that there's a way to turn the coin of one being such an adversary to becoming more of a partner?
Well, I don't know about a partner, but what I do know is, and again, this is something I've learned over the last year, when somebody else annoys you, if you find, I mean, I found lately, or, you know, the few months since I've realized it, something else about somebody else that irks me, and the work of Byron Katie, I do recommend people look at, because it's amazing work. It's called Judge Your Neighbor, the work. And when somebody else annoys you, it's either, I'm sorry, I don't know if you can hear that train, there's a noisy train going by, that there's a part of them that is a reflection of yourself that you either don't want to admit to or you're not facing. And I find when I meet somebody who's quite assertive, who's bolshy or pushy, that used to be me until I worked on myself, and I've now calmed down a lot. And I realize, oh, that's the person in me that you know. So that's a great thing to realize. If somebody annoys you, somebody hurts you, there's something about them, it's because there's something about you that you're not accepting. You need to dig down deep, and that way you can, in fact, you can become a good friend with them. You can. And I actually know of people who've started off hating each other, and they got together. So you just don't know.
That's been some of my personal experience as well. I've had it happen more than once that I piss people off. They start out being an adversary and then later become a good friend once we're able to learn to dance together to that same music.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes, yes, yes.
I feel a deep and profound gratitude to share with you publicly, Helen, to hear more of your story after having met you a bit ago. I had no idea the depth of it and the difficulty and the struggle that you've gone through to get the clarity that you have today. And I want to say it to you in a way that anyone else in similar circumstances, as you mentioned, being challenged, being threatened, being bullied, and whatever else, like, thank you, right? Like, thank you to you and anyone else being willing to go through that difficulty, that struggle, the pain, the suffering, the misery of it, to be able to share with us these stories, as you did today, of overcoming and even being grateful for it on top of it. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're absolutely welcome. I wouldn't be me today. I wouldn't be me this, people say, I mean, I guess I am a confident person who is happy to empower others if I hadn't been through those struggles. So we have to be grateful for the struggles because they make us who we are today. So yes. Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I think we'll wrap it there for now. And I look forward to touching in with you again sometime in the near future, because as we discussed a little bit before we went on live here, we feel like we're on the cutting edge of a lot of this empowerment and getting to meet people who are just getting over those initial hurdles of finding the courage and the strength to do what I'd like to coin for now as being together we overcome. So again, thank you. From Norway to New Zealand, Helen, press on. We absolutely support you.
Thank you so much, Tim. It's been lovely to be here. Thank you.
We'll do it again soon. Bye-bye from Norway.